Hi everybody, welcome. Today is the first in a series of videos we're doing. These are going to cover some frequently asked questions, so questions we get a lot that may not be answered by some of our other available information. So hey, let's get right into it. First question today it's a pretty big one. It's pretty important to a lot of people. It's how much will my system cost? Now there's a lot of variables that go into that, so it's really hard to say, your system's going to cost $8,000 or your system's going to cost $4,000. What we do is you tell us what you want to be able to do. I want to be able to run a hot plate. I want to be able to run an air conditioner. I want to be able to do it for this long. And we take that information and we design a customized estimate for you. So the cost is going to depend a lot on what you want to be able to do. But I would say our average range, and again, this is for a DIY kit that you assemble yourself. If you are paying for installation, that's an extra cost. But for the system itself, usually anywhere from $4,000 on up to about $10,000. Sometimes we can get a little above that if you have particularly high needs, but I would say about $8,000 is pretty average for a high quality power system that's going to do great for you. On to the next. Do we do installation? That kind of segues from the last one. We do not do installation. We are focused entirely on design, sales, and shipping. We provide you the DIY kit, you handle the installation yourself, or you get somebody to do it. We do have a couple of other businesses we work with who do installation. Nomadic Customs, Off-Grid Solutions PDX, we know the Mountain Standard. I could go on, I don't want to leave anyone out, but we know a lot of people in the industry. If you are struggling to find an installer, feel free to reach out and we might be able to help you. Next question. Can I do it myself? That is a big one, and we say yes. We design our systems so that the average person, or really anybody, can follow our instructions, follow our setup guides. We've got handwritten guides for a lot of the components, and that will get you to the point where even if you've never installed an electrical system, maybe you've never even cut or crimp a wire, you can put together one of our systems. So we're there to help you with that. Next question down the list, which segues very nicely. How long does it take? This again, it's going to vary a lot based on how complex your system is, how experienced you are, what kind of tools you have on hand. It's going to vary a lot. We would say, guess how much time it's going to take you and probably double that. There's always something that's going to come up. You'll forget a tool. You'll be missing a component and have to go run to the store. It's a constant series of things taking longer than you expect. So it's hard for me to say an exact time. I think if you were someone who does this on a professional level, you do installs all the time, you could probably get one of our systems installed inside a couple days. But if you are less experienced, if this is your first time, I would leave yourself probably a couple of weeks at minimum if you're going to be just working hard on it. And a lot of these projects do stretch out, months to a year or so, if it's something you can only work on the weekends. So that takes some time, but it's definitely doable. And that leads us to what kind of tools might I need? There's a lot of tools you're going to need for something like this, but it's maybe less than you might think. So over here on the table, just out of frame, I've got an assortment of tools. Let's just kind of go through them. I'll talk about them a little bit, and hopefully that gives you some guidance. First one, I always have on hand, wire cutter. You will need this. This is a fairly small gauge one. This will work great for your individual circuits, for some of the smaller wires, for the solar wire. But the bigger stuff, you'll need something a little bit different. For the larger wires, I use this particular one. This is a Temco wire cutter. It's very easily available. They're pretty cheap, and it will cut wire up to, I think it'll do 4/0. It'll do pretty big wire essentially. So for your bigger stuff, this is what's going to do the job for you. Once you have your wires cut, you're going to need to do some crimping. You're going to need to put some lugs on there. What we use for that is this bad boy right here. You can see it's a lever action crimper. You put the lug right in there, crimp it down, and that gets you a really, really nice secure contact. I just want to say I'm not being paid by Temco. I just really, really love this. This is the TH0012. If you're doing more than one project, highly, highly recommend it. If you're only doing one, you don't need to do that many crimps. You could save some money and just get a hammer crimper, which we stock as well. Next up, since we're still talking about crimping, this is a crimper for an Mc4 wire, or for the solar cable that we use. You might be able to see on the frame, it's got kind of an M-shaped top. With the particular Mc4 connectors we use, and basically the ones across the industry, this will get a really, really, really nice crimp on those. That is important. That's in wire that if you don't do a good crimp on it, it's very, very easy to pull it out accidentally, and then your solar doesn't work and you don't know why. So one of these, I think they're 40, 50 bucks online. Again, if you're just doing the one project, you can probably crimp it with something else. But if you're doing more than one, we love this. Other tools, this one's fairly optional. If you're going to be installing Mc4 plugs onto wire, this one's quite helpful. It has a little cutout that helps you twist the wire, or twist the plug on. Same with that bit up there. And then these prongs there that you see, those slip into the little catch mechanism on the plugs, so it makes them a lot easier to separate after you've installed them. Another thing on the wire front, we have shrink tubing. This is, maybe not electrically important, but very, very useful and helps the system look good, also helps protect things. This installation has a double wall. The outer side shrinks, the inner side will melt and seal the wire in. So you get a really, really good seal. No water's getting in, no moisture's getting in. It's going to keep it nice. You'll also need a heat gun of some sort. You can use a hair dryer. We use a Wagner power stripper. It works great, just don't get it, right on there. You want to have a little bit of distance. Another thing you will need is standard type stuff. You'll need a couple of screwdrivers of different sizes, both Phillips and flathead. You'll need a socket wrench. I like to use a small one with a rubberized handle. That way you don't worry about shorting stuff out. You'll need an assortment of socket sizes. For the most part, it's going to be between, I think, 8 and 13 for pretty much everything you'll be doing. But if you have a socket set and a wrench, should be good to go there. And that honestly about covers it for tools. There's a couple other supplies you'll need as well. You want some zip ties or some P-clamps just to get all the wires nice and secure, get them managed, to get them looking nice. You'll need an assortment of screws, probably a drill. Just kind of think about it like the tools you'd need to do some light carpentry. You're also going to need those. But yeah, that about covers it for today. Hope you guys have learned something and had a good time, and we'll see you again soon. Oh yeah, and part 2 is coming up soon. Stay tuned.